Okay, you know what? I will do the full explainer now. So, my background with Swedish. I learned Swedish shortly before I went to Sweden in 2015. Back then, I had been learning German at uni for 2 years, so I was quite okay at German. At least, I mean, I was pretty good compared to what the course was teaching me. I was not a very comprehensive course. I did a lot of work on my own, so my German's pretty okay. And then before I went to Sweden for my exchange year, I spent a month in Germany, doing like because it was my first time solo in Europe, right? So I'm gonna do some crazy traveling. So I interrailed all over Germany, and throughout that interrailing process, I learned Swedish, and not like talking to people in Germany, no, but I read a book, and then I basically capitalized on my knowledge of German to help me learn Swedish as quickly as possible. And then after I arrived in Sweden, I think 2 months later, pretty much, I arrived in like August, and then I did an exam in October called the TESUS, so Test i Svenska för universitetsstudier, something along those lines. It enables me, I can't English now, it enables me to study in Swedish in Sweden. And for some miraculous reason, I passed. So, and that's test is not strictly correspondent. That test is not strictly aligned with the CEFR, but I've seen people saying that it is roughly on a C1 level. So guess what? I actually did manage to learn a language in 3 months to a C1 level, technically speaking, even though I don't feel like I did. I think I got lucky at the exam. Not lucky, but like I had good exam skills, which is what has been the story of my life. And then I just spoke Swedish throughout my year in Sweden. Not all the time, because that's another thing with living in Scandinavia. It's quite hard to break into the circles that people already have with the locals, because lots of people knew each other. It's a small country. So I didn't make a crazy number of Swedish friends that would speak Swedish to me, but I did keep speaking it throughout the year. And I also started studying Swedish at the university. No, studying in Swedish. So I mainly did 2 courses in Swedish. The rest of my courses were like courses for exchange students, so like they were in English. But I did 2 courses in Swedish. One of them was a music and society course, and that was very difficult because it was proper academic stuff, and we had to like read and then discuss, some sociological things in Swedish. And I think the hardest thing for me was the reading was all in English, because Swedish is a smallish language. All the reading was in English, but then we would have to discuss that in Swedish, which was what ultimately made me give up, because that was really challenging. So after I forgot how many weeks, a certain number of weeks, I was like, no, I'm just gonna drop out. I'm gonna quit this course. I had a good time, a very challenging but interesting time trying to talk on the same level as like actual native speakers on the university level, but gave up. But then but at the same time, I also did a course in phonetics in Swedish. So, and that went much better, because phonetics is relatively, simple, straightforward. The teacher was actually German, ironically, who spoke Swedish with a German accent. We were talking about Swedish phonology and phonetics, and then the teacher was struggling with saying some Swedish sounds, which was interesting. And that's it. That was mainly my story with learning and using Swedish. And then what happened was basically I left it out in the cold for 10 years, literally. And then so my Swedish is extremely dormant now. And as I've explained before, it really didn't help that I afterwards learned Welsh to a really good level. And I still can't be sure whether it's because Welsh and Swedish sound somewhat similar, which it could be the case, because like someone commented on my last stream saying that I sounded like I was speaking Swedish with a Welsh accent, which I absolutely wasn't, because my Swedish pronunciation is pretty good, I think. That could be the case, or simply my brain just decided to put those two in the same box, and so my Welsh has absolutely crushed my Swedish like to the smithereens. Initially, it was like pretty, it was struggling. It was somewhere in the back of my head, and then Welsh came in and was like, "Nope, this is my space now. So Swedish, go away." So probably somewhere even deep in my head. And so now I need it.